That's in from the side, ref.
Welcome back to another episode of In From The Side. I'm back with my co-host and partner in crime, Matthew Rhodes.
G'day, mate.
Matt, the shirt says it all.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well. How the turntables...
Yeah, it's this is going to be a tough one, I think, today. We had a tough weekend. Everyone knows it. Everyone in the world of rugby knows it. We are avid Boks fans. We got together. It was your man's birthday weekend as well. So we had a massive birthday get-together, Borsbraai. If anyone has never had a Borsbraai, you don't know what you're missing. But we got together, and then the heavens opened up and the rain came down and washed our day away. We were drowning our sorrows by the end of it.
No, it's okay. Look, you need a little bit of perspective,
Yeah.
right? Saturday wasn't fun. Sunday wasn't fun. And I watched the game again yesterday. And I think the first thing we need to do, Matt, is acknowledge the Aussies.
Yeah.
Let's just, before we dig into what went wrong for the Springboks, can we just tip our hats to Joe Schmidt and the boys? I mean, against all the odds. I mean, we listen to a lot of podcasts and listen to a lot of people out there. No one out there picked a Wallaby win, and they came out and they produced the goods. And I did some research, as I always do. This is only the second time since Rassie's been in charge of the Springbok team in 7 years that we leaked more than 4 tries. The last time that happened was against the All Blacks in Wellington in 2018, a game that we won.
Yeah.
So I still see it as a bit of an anomaly, and I'll explain why. I don't think it'll repeat itself, but in saying that, I mean, Max Jorgensen, Suya, Harry Wilson scoring a double, Fraser McWright over the ball was just a menace. And I think tactically, Joe Schmidt, he knew exactly what it was going to take. I think he expected us to come out of the gates blazing hot and just playing at a high tempo.
Yeah.
And I think he just said to the boys, like, absorb that. If you can absorb that and you can stay in the game and get a try or two and just stay within 10, 14 points, we'll be in with a shout. And obviously, you know, being battle hardened playing against the Lions, we had some softer games going into the Rugby Championship. Who knows? Maybe that had a part to play, but just well done to the Aussies. They deserved to win. It was a fantastic game.
Yeah, a fantastic game for them. Obviously didn't start off great, as everyone knows, but I think, 1 to 15, they played really, really well. You mentioned some names. I thought the scrum played okay. In the 2 scrums in the first half, they were, demolished by our boys. So I think, our lads stood up in that sense. But where I think we lost it a lot is at the breakdown. And for my mind, I've watched the game 3 times. I went back and I studied it.
Is that your way to deal with the trauma?
No, I don't think it's as bad as everyone's making out. First and foremost, I want to say that. I do want to tip, my cap to the Aussie boys, and as you say, Joe Schmidt. I think you don't have that kind of win coming from that deficit down and putting those points on unanswered without having a really good system, a really good strategy. And they've taken some momentum from, the recent tour of the Lions, and they've built it into this performance. So fair play to them. But I think overall, the scrum, when we scrummed, our boys stood up, and the first couple of scrums we demolished them. The lineouts were a shambles on our side, and yet when we were competing against their lineouts, we seemed to do well. A point that comes to mind is when they're on the 5-yard off a penalty, they've gone for the corner, and Peter Steff gets up and steals their ball, and Grant Williams kicks it out for the 22. And then the subsequent line out, they go again, and Eben gets it back. And then all of a sudden we're in transition. Ball goes to the back line. Boys are running up, and unfortunately the pass from Arnser to Damien goes behind him. And I think for a lot of it, there was a lot of that kind of flavour of play on our side. And we'll get to that. But coming back to the Aussie boys, I thought the halves played outstandingly well. So the maturity showed by Nick White and James O'Connor was outstanding. I think we talked about Liner at 10 for them during the Lions series. He looked immature. James O'Connor just seemed to have composure.
Yeah.
And then Ikital played well until he was taken off. Obviously, I think he was strong. Suoli had a great game, but that back three, Dylan Peach until he ran into a
I think he broke his jaw, mate. He's
he
out.
did, shame, man, because you could see he broke it immediately.
But Kellaway's a decent replacement,
100%,
and he did well.
and you did well.
Yeah.
But Max Jorgensen and Tom Wright always.
I mean, we've been praising Tom Wright for the last 2 seasons now.
Yeah.
We thought he was going to be the next big thing. He proved it a couple of times. He broke the line. I thought another guy in the back line that made a difference when he came on was Tate McDermott.
Yeah.
He tends to. He's part of their bomb squad. Like when he comes off the bench, he makes a
huge impact.
Yeah. So I think a couple of people out there said it. I think Campo also said it. If Australia win, they're going to win us in the backs, and that's it. That proved.
And that being said, I thought Hooper played exceptionally well, and I think McWright as well. And they won it at the breakdown. So I come back to the point I wanted to make. We were in the ascendancy with 22 points up. We just scored with Sia. He's gone over for his try. Marco has to go for an HIA, and we were getting so much front football with him. He was charging it up, he was hitting the line, breaking tackles, and he was a menace at the breakdown. And he goes off. They kick off and return to us. Fraser McWright over the ball and steals it. And from there, it just seemed like they owned the breakdown.
Yeah, that momentum turned literally on the 20-minute mark. Like you say, there was something happened. And that momentum just turned. And I think everyone says it. We're not going to say anything different on the show today. Is we moved away from what was in our DNA a little bit. We know that Rassie wants to evolve this team and play this more expansive style and run from all angles. But there used to be this old adage in rugby that says you have to earn the right to go wide. And it's I know it's a cheesy cliche, but what that means is you've got to do the hard work up front to open up the space for your backs to be able to run. And it felt like we just disrespected that unspoken rule in rugby. We didn't do the hard work up front. We just thought we could run it from anywhere. And we spoke about it off air. What that did unintentionally was everyone in the team started playing that way. Like it wasn't just Manie, it wasn't just Grant Williams playing this quick, fast, frantic type of game. You would see Eben offload, Boan Venter throwing a long pass. Like everyone was just flinging the ball around.
Possible shots over the top.
That is just not our style. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about leadership. You've got a lot to say about it, Matt. But Victor Matfield said it as well on his podcast with John Kerwin over the weekend. He's like, we were 22-0 up. Did we have to play that much rugby for the rest of the game? We didn't. We could have reverted back to type, play your percentages, play into the corners, contest on the line-outs, put the forward pressure on, maybe score another rolling maul try. There's your bonus point, and we seal out the game. And for some reason, when they started creeping back into the game, we just... You can talk about the leadership because I know you've got a couple of points, but there wasn't someone when Sia left the field to say, boys, let's consolidate.
Yeah.
Come on, let's slow the game down. Let's go back to what we're good at.
Great.
And let's carve out a win.
Great leaders, I think, have the ability, and I've said this before in other shows that we've done, have the ability to read the game in the game. And I know that there are strategy sessions leading up, and you obviously sit down, and there's all the prep in the week. But come game day, sometimes that strat just goes out the window.
It's out the window.
No, and if you're all of a sudden, 20 points down, which we weren't, we were 22 points up. But if they're getting back in the game, sometimes it takes a cool head to prevail for someone to pull everyone aside and go, right, the tempo of the game is wrong. We need to consolidate. Let's play the percentages. Let's play the, as you say, the kicking game. We were winning in the first 20 minutes. We were winning the aerial battle. Like Grant Williams was box kicking. It was chipping over the top, and it was working for us. And then all of a sudden, it seemed we switched into the Aussies, and the Aussies switched into us. And I just think that there just needed to be composure. You can set it at the feet of Grant Williams and Manie Libbok, who set the tone, and that tone then became contagious in and amongst all the rest of the players. And you can see it became feverish. There were, it looked desperate at times. And I kept on watching this going, but we're still leading. Why are we playing this kind of frantic, high tempo game where why don't we just slow it down, get back to our DNA, go for the corner, use our defense, put pressure on them. get the penalties, go for the poles, if we need to, put scoreboard pressure on them.
Yeah.
And it just needed someone with a cool head to come and pull everyone in. And it didn't seem like there was anyone doing that. All it seemed like was Grant and Manie were just playing a really high tempo. Everyone else was coming into form around them. We got the 22 points by playing that in the beginning, in the 20. And it seemed that we just continued to play that way because we thought if it was good for us in the first 20, it'll be good for us in the next 60. And I think I come back to the point, you need players, either leaders, captains, or just senior players, or your generals, which are your 9 and 10, to go, the game shifted.
Yeah, but that's not how our tests go. Usually if you look at any test, 9 times out of 10, the first 20 is always high-paced, frantic. The guys are fresh. They want to get stuck into each other. And then there's a bit of a lull from 20 to 60 minutes in the game, that middle period.
Yeah.
And then the last 20, again, the pace picks up because there's tired legs on the field and there's lots more space. So we just didn't play to that flow. Like the natural flow of the game was, let's slow it down. We keep saying the same thing. And just to second what you said, there wasn't that clear decision making on the field to say this isn't working.
There was no maturity in the game. We played a bit at times like school kids. We played like we just wanted to flick it around. And again, that was being led by Manie at 10. And I know that we've had our opinion about Manie before. If you watched the show last week, we said that we want nothing more than for him to do well and for us to get behind him. But what we've said in the past, and I'll say again today, is he makes me feel uneasy. And while his style of play got us those points initially, a cooler head would have been able to just read the game. Dan Carter, Johnny Wilkinson, Andrew Mertens, Andre Pollard, even someone like Dan Bigger, intelligent rugby player can read a game and go, right, let's cool things down. And there just wasn't any of that. So, and when you have that nervousness creep in, it bleeds like a cancer to everyone else. And all of a sudden, everyone else thinks that they are Fiji and are passing over the top and balls going to ground. And when that happened, and I come back to the point we started with, fair play to Australia. They picked up all our scraps. They were really good when they had ball in hand themselves. They kicked well out of hand in for the territory. But when we made mistakes, they capitalized.
Mate, there's a very good reason why New Zealand never won a World Cup with Carlos Spencer at fly-off, right? Because as flashy as these types of players are, they're brilliant. I'm not saying Manie is not talented. Again, on Saturday, the pressure was up. And if that was a World Cup final or a World Cup semi-final, like we saw in 2023, unfortunately, the guy just doesn't have the BMT. And I know, if you look at the comment section on last week's video, we got a lot of flack. We took a lot of flack because we've got this opinion. It's not that I want him to play badly. It's just time and again, this is a repeat sort of type of performance where when the pressure is up, like you say, he can't consolidate, he can't marshal the team. And what you want in a fly-off is a general that actually runs the show and says, I will make the calls, give me the ball, I will play us into the corners. And he just kept doing what he was doing. Yes, we scored 22 great points with him at fly-off, but it also probably cost us about 21 points with a couple of defensive lapses obviously that intercept, which...
Well, if you look back before, I think it was before that, there was a moment where there was a kind of breakdown in play, comes to Grant, he passes to Manie, we're on the left-hand side of the field, and Manie just kicks the ball for Edwell on, a cross-field kick. And...
almost into Tom Wright's hands.
Right into, had it just stuck. Tom Wright's got great hands as well. Yeah. Tom Wright had then Kelleher behind him, and you think that's going to be another try. That would have been egg on his face again. The try, the intercept to Suoli'i, he didn't have to make that pass. If you watch it back, there's Damien Willems coming, he's about 5-6 yards behind him on the left. He's got Edwell or Arons, I think, wearing a scrum cap. I don't know, I think it's Edwell. Hands out, waiting for the pass, a good 5-10 yards to the right of him. Their opposition are two forwards. I think it was Pollard and Angus Bell. And then there's Suoli'i. And out wide, you've got Peter Steph Toy and Malcolm Marks. And you just think, you've got two backs, fast backs on two forwards. There's loads of space. Pop it close or draw them in, then pop, right? And you've got a 4 on 2. You're man. You're made and you're out there. And you look like a star because you've drawn in the players before you've made the pass and you've made the space. Instead, He's taken a really bad option, flung it wide to Peter Steff, who would have been kind of isolated. He had Malcolm Marx with him, but there were defenders opposite him.
Yeah.
And they go in and score. And you just think, shit option, bad decision making, 50-50 pass he didn't have to make. Some of the 50-50s he's made, we get results from. But you're always nervous when he's doing these things because there's no composure.
Yeah, and it's always 50-50. You said it. Like, there's never any certainty in anything that he does. Doesn't matter how, 50% of the time it comes off, but the other 50% of the time it could cost you points. And unfortunately, it continues to happen at this level of the game.
Those players that I just mentioned, Dan Carter, Johnny Wilkinson, Andrew Mertens, Andre Pollard that we've spoken about, they give you confidence.
Yeah.
As a fan and as your teammates alongside you, those boys, Richie McCaw and Dan Carter, that All Black team, those All Blacks around were like, DC-10. He's our man. He's not going to make mistakes. He's going to play really good, either out of hand or put people into space. They just had confidence, so they played with confidence. When you got someone like Manie who can do the Carlos Spencer, the razzle-dazzle, but then you're always thinking, what's he going to do next? And he does something and you're like, there it is.
Yeah.
There's that.
Unfortunately, our point has been proven again. And that's the sad part. So, I don't know, mate. I've got question marks. I don't question anything Rassie does. In Rassie, we trust. But there was a time on Sunday where I thought, is Rassie just being stubborn? Or does he really believe Manie is a World Cup winner for us? Does he really think, with Sasha in the squad, with Pollard in the squad, with some young guys coming through, does he really think Manie is going to do it? I just don't see it. I don't see it.
We'll talk about it now, but he's been dropped this week. Look, again, I feel for the lad because some of those plays he made, his pass and his distribution, outstanding. He hits the ball, the line really fast. He puts us on the front foot. I think Esterhuizen's first try, he makes the pass.
Oh, beautiful.
The pass to Jesse, if he makes it to his left in the breadbasket like a normal pass, he gets tackled by Nick White. But he puts it outside his right shoulder. Jesse has to take one half step to the right to get the ball and collect it. And in so doing, goes past Nick White. It creates a space. We score. You can attribute that back to Manie. So he's got great talent, great instincts, but he just plays with such a feverish, discombobulation that you're always concerned he's going to make a 50-50.
Yeah.
And he does that. So,
but in saying that, a lot of experienced players had an off day. Malcolm and Bongi couldn't find their jumpers. Lewitt fumbled a couple of balls at line-out time. Marku, when he came back from his HIA, he was less impactful. Apalele Fassi didn't make one tackle the whole game. He was a little bit out of sorts.
His kicking out of hand wasn't great either.
So was Damien. Damien, when he came on, and he's such a talent, I think he needs to find his confidence. So you can look across the board. A lot of players had an off day.
Peter Steff had a great day. He was bossing the outside channels. I thought Edwell played exceptionally well. Arons had a good game, and again he was great under the high ball. Good for his try as well. And again, a few of those lads stood up, but when it came down to it, and I thought Esterhuizen had a good game as well, right? And good for his try. When I watched it again, we didn't play badly. I know that Rassie said that we played dog shit, right? But we had, 14 line breaks?
14 line breaks. It's the most of all 4 teams in the Rugby Championship. And I agree with you, mate. We're going to get stick for this. Everyone's shocked because of the margin and the score.
And the nature.
And the nature of what happened in the last 20 minutes. I'm still sitting in shock. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, pissed off.
But taking the emotion out of it, we both watched the game again. There's small things that we can fix that could have turned that game very, very easily.
We were clinical.
Our accuracy 5 meters out from the try line.
Yeah.
And there's something that I think the Aussies taught us. They taught us a lesson, and it's all about patience. Like, you could see them. They didn't contest every single ball. Fraser McWright wasn't in every single ruck. But when it mattered, he picked his spots. Francois Lowe used to do that very well for the Boks. He knew exactly, okay, they're 5 meters out, now I need to make a play. And that's where 9 times out of 10 stole the ball. Or where they put pressure on us in the forwards and we knocked it, right? So they were very good at just absorbing our jabs. And when we wanted to land the knockout punch, they gave us an uppercut. So
they were very Springbok in that
very
approach.
much so,
right?
very much so. That slow poison we always talk about that we missed in our game, they applied to us and they fed off our mistakes.
Fair play to them. And if that was a strategic input from Joe Schmidt,
absolutely,
fair play to him.
No, well played.
So they were well worth their comeback win, and tip of the hat to them. But again, having looked at the game, there were 4 or 5 tries. There was Grant Williams' break. There was Esther Hazen's break. There was Damien fumbling on the 5-yard. There was Peter Steff when we were in transition, when he knocks it on. 4 or 5 different occasions where you think the try's on here. And had those been more clinical and we'd been more accurate and played like world champions, the scoreline would have been, with those tries still, because of where they hadn't come into the game as yet, it would have been not 22-12, it would have been 30-12, 40-12, and that's a different complexion of game altogether. So you think to yourself, and one other thing I want to make a point on as well, I thought Ben O'Keefe had a great game. Like
absolutely,
a couple of decisions that were maybe 50-50, but having watched it again, I think he marshaled the game very well.
No, absolutely, and it's not sour grapes. We are giving the Aussies all their credit. They absolutely deserve to win. So it sets us up for a humdinger. Just before we talk about next week, Matt, just kudos to the Aussie punters and fans out there. They've been quite modest, but the Kiwis, mate.
My phone blew up.
Let me say, there's nobody in the world happy about this loss than New Zealanders, specifically John Kerwin and whoever that prick is that spoke to Tony Johnson on the weekend. But it's been
something,
I don't know,
whatever, DMSP or whatever it is. I think there's some lads are getting ahead of themselves, right? So the Springboks have lost once. This kind of idea that we're invincible. I said last week it wouldn't be a bad thing that if we lost this week.
Maybe it's not.
Which you weren't happy with, and
I said I don't like losing.
Yeah, but neither do I. But I think for me, I am of the opinion better to lose the battle and win the war still than to win the battle and lose the war, right? So the way in which we lost is super disappointing, but nothing like that better than getting a bit of a reality check. And in this particular point, 18 months to 2 years out from a World Cup.
Yeah.
This is a good
Rather
time.
now than in a World Cup here, and then we have to scramble to figure out what the hell's going on.
And those Kiwi boys, I've heard a couple of them. Fair play to Tony Johnson. I thought his feedback was very fair. He made a comment saying he wasn't going to be writing any obituaries on the Bokke based on this game. And I think that's a fair comment to make. Don't be putting us down just on one performance. Every dog has his day, and records are there to be broken. And the Aussies came through and smashed that, so fair play to them. But what I've said about the All Blacks before, and I'll say it again this time, is when they take a loss, beware the wounded buffalo. And this week, every South African in the country, as well as those Springboks, more the Springboks and Rassie than any of us, they are wounded buffalo, they're hurting, and they're going to come back. And I'm predicting this is going to be a statement.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get to the team selection now. Just quickly getting ready for Newlands on Saturday. Before we talk about our favorite 10 moments building up to Saturday's game, just a shout out to Jose. We challenged the folks out there in YouTube land to give us their favorite moment from the Boks matches between the Boks and the Aussies at Ellis Park. He gave us a shout out. He loved that try that Bob Skinstad scored in 1998. It's our favorite moment of that fixture by a mile. We both love that try. So thanks, Jose. Thanks for your comment. We really appreciate it. That's
the fan moment of the week. And I just want to say, obviously, there's the fanfare moment, which we will show. Shout out to not Ben, Frank O'Keefe. He's a long-time viewer of the show. He makes comments every week. Some of them we agree with, some of them we don't. But he made the prediction that the Aussies were going to win this week. And so fair play to you. Good on you.
I hate to say it, Frank. I've been ignoring you on the channel for about 2 months now, but you were right.
100%.
And, you know what? We can dish it out. We can also take it. You know, we're not normal South
We'll
Africans.
eat our humble pie today. So fair play to you.
We'll have some humble pie for dinner. But enough about Ellis Park. Let's think about the next test. You said we're going to make a statement. We'll talk about the team now. But before we do that, Matt and myself, we had a look through the archives and we looked at fixtures between the Springboks and the Aussies in Cape Town, not necessarily at Cape Town Stadium, but at Newlands, where they would have played previously. And we picked our top 10 moments. Have a look.
Louis Kuhn, what can he conjure up? Van der Westhuizen gets it wide again. Well laid back by South Africa. Van der Westhuizen, flip on the inside. very nearly through goes Vickers van Heerden. Can Australia just last out? Van der Westhuizen again. Kuhn and Russell! Wonderful ball up by South Africa. And the pocket rocket has done it again. Tackle by John Smith that time. This is now full war, wide for Steve Kefu. Trouble here for South Africa. Sailor with the time and space. Delport gives chase. Bear was over. Here's Russell. Can he get away from the men? Yes, he can. From both their centres. He's opened it up for David Barry. He needs to look on the other. Brilliant pass. Russell. Can he get it on the inside? Here goes Stefan de Blanche. This could be the try of the season. It's Victor Matfield. It's a good take there by Giffen, Gregan, Kefu, Tata Kefu. Barry made the tackle once more. Gregan, flatly. Burke, the Bucky's worth a slip. And here goes Joe Roth. Try Australia.
Back for Gregan, Larkin, with the left foot. Now Steyn lines up the drop goal. Oh, he struck it well. He struck it well. The score is a level. He opted to hang on to the ball. Phase number 10.
Steyn back in the pocket.
Steyn for the drop goal for the 3 points. He's got 2 drop goals. Francois Steyn.
Line out in World Rugby. James Horwell hasn't been feeling all that well, but they went to Palu and now Giteau, and here's Barnes straightening. Adam Ashley Cooper!
Try!
He's over! What a start to the test match!
Oh, unbelievable!
Australia 5, South Africa 0.
Push over here.
Stay on.
George Smith at the back, gives it to Giteau! Matt Giteau, yes! Try to Australia beside the post.
Oh, how was that shimmy? He went to step again off the left and went went right and held out inspection.
Dupree, Steyn, to Villiers. Lovely ball on the outside. Beautiful. Watch the pace for Zane Kirshner on the inside. Six his man, Zane Kirshner.
One by South Africa, in which Australia count in their test records, as New South Wales were representative of the country at the time in rugby. Not counted in the Springbok records. Here's Kurandrani making really good ground through 2 tackles. Brian Habana has stayed down. Adam Ashley Cooper for the corner. Hokart across. But Ashley Cooper has got it down. Lost forward by Australia and claimed by myself and Ameva. Hokart, LaRue, Serfontein. Through the middle he goes. Looking for Hendricks. Here goes Cornel Hendricks. Back to the inside. He had Jean de Villiers to his right. But stolen by Australia. Then lost forward. Advantage South Africa. Basmark du Plessis. Jean de Villiers. Try!
Against Australia in Newlands.
Short restart up the middle from Australia. South Africa will play now. They're 1 try short of a 4-try bonus point. Can they get something here? Corvus Reinach snapping. Cornel Hendricks to his right. Looks for the inside. Reinach! Is there one last fabulous moment in this test? Du Plessis into contact. Time is up on the clock. Willie Leroux. Maxfield. And de Villiers! Extraordinary scenes at Newlands.
So those were our top 10 moments between the Springboks and the Aussies at Newlands over the last couple of years. Matt, great to watch that old archive footage. Which moment stood out for you the most?
Mate, I love AAC, Adam Ashley Cooper. Like, he's got a couple of belters in there. I think we used one, not two. There's a few that maybe we left off the reel, but there were plenty. There's plenty of tries for this particular fixture in the past. And so hopefully we're going to get a few more suggestions of ones that we've left out. But Adam Ashley Cooper's was good. I think Zane Kirshner's was better.
Yeah, Zane Kirshner scored a pearler at Newlands in 2013. I think the best of the lot that we saw was Big Vic's try in 2003 when we beat them at Newlands.
It was a belter.
Very much a fancied Aussie side who played in the World Cup final that year. And then obviously Frans Steins, double drop. He double dropped in 07.
He double dropped.
And that won us the game.
Yeah, nice, man.
Great memories.
Oh, the first kick, though, to draw us, I think it was to draw us level, right?
from touch.
Mate, he just turns around. He was 20 years old. 20.
Unbelievable.
Just 20 years old, young whippersnapper, turns around, a couple of steps from the right. It's about 50, 55 on the angle. Thanks for coming.
How do we miss Frans Stein in professional rugby? But that's it. Which moments did we leave off? I'm sure, like Matt said, there's so many tries and great moments in this fixture, specifically between the Springboks and the Aussies at Newlands in the Rugby Championship or the Tri-Nations. Leave your comment in the comment section below. We'll give you a shout out and show that moment again next week. So remember to leave your comments in the comment section. But let's talk about it, Matt. Ellis Park, done and dusted, right?
Yeah.
The wake is, I've taken... I'm still wearing black, but the wake is gone and the hangover is gone. So we can think clearly about what lies ahead. We're both predicting, we'll get into the team now, but we're both predicting the Boks to bounce back solidly. And they've picked a team that sort of indicates that we're not going to play the same way that we complained about for the last 30 minutes.
Look, I think the team last week, in my opinion, was a world-beating team, right? So there was an outstanding team.
14 out of the 15.
Well, no.
I'll let it go.
Well, again, I think that team that was picked last week had every chance and every right, especially because of the way they played in the first 20, to put a statement out, and then they just let it capitulate.
Yeah.
So can't take much away from the selection originally, but a few more mature heads coming through this week. Back in for selection, and I think I come back to the point I made about composure and maturity.
Sorry guys, I lost my composure out there. I'm an idiot.
Frankie, don't worry about it, all right?
Right? This is what I'm looking for in this next week. So Ox retains, Malcolm retains, Thomas du Toit comes in. I didn't think Wilco Louw played badly at all.
No, he scrummed well. I mean, there were a couple of scrums that he dominated, but again, I don't think this is an indication of how Wilco played. This might be an indication of how Asenati and Tlabakanye played. So I think he wants some power off the bench, and that's why he put Wilco on the bench.
Well,
great to have Thomas back.
100%. Thomas the Tank, I love him. Wilco up against James Slipper. Obviously, James Slipper, I think 148.
Yeah.
Caps now equal with Richie McCaw, third highest of all time. I think Wilco stood up proper. Last week, so he did well.
Decent game.
And then the locks, there's a change in the locks. Achia comes in and Ruan Nakia. I think Ruan Nakia has been solid anytime he's put on the green and gold. And then Achia just gives you, he is as good as...
Mate, I like that locking combo.
Very cool.
I like Eben and Luet.
Yeah, me too.
I think Luet is still, after 2 years out of the international scene, still sort of finding his feet and building his confidence. He had some soft moments. Eben, I think, tried. He was industrious as always, but it's good to have him on the bench and then bring that impact with 30 left to go. But that second row combo, I really like.
I'll be honest with you, when we did the show last week, I really liked the Eben and Luet. I thought we weren't going to lose a line-out. I thought we were going to dominate. They were outstanding in their own right. Eben's 148 caps, Luet's 60-odd. So again, lots of experience, lots of maturity.
But I think that's part of the reason why Archie is in, because he gives you half a foot extra length, just the length that guy gives you in the lineouts.
I think also Archie comes with outstanding ball skills. So a couple of the over-the-top basketball type plays that happened this last weekend. Some went to to hand, somewhere to ground, and then all of a sudden knock-ons.
Yeah,
when
that fits his game.
That fits his game really nicely, so that's good. Franco Mostert was good when he came on, and so he starts, obviously, with Peter Steff getting injured.
An injury-enforced change. Yeah.
An injury-enforced change. Jean-Luc Dupree coming in at 8. He's an out-and-out 8. I don't think Sia played badly at 8.
I thought Sia was decent. And still, he
was
also
sensational.
got a bit of a niggle.
He's sensational for his try. I thought he was industrious. I thought he was good on the outside channels. Him and Peter Steff running that really well. And then he gets a niggle. And again, that was the turning point. Marco goes off. He gets his knock. And that was a point.
And we lacked that leadership.
We lacked that leadership. Marco, though, I thought he played exceptionally well. So I'm glad. He played well until he had to go for his HIA. I'm glad he's been included in the starting 15 this week, because some of the front football that he gave, he broke tackles, he brought players in, he was a menace at the breakdown initially, and let's see more of that this week.
Yeah.
At 9, Grant Williams again starts, and we've talked about the fact that we think he's the best 9 in the country.
He is. But I think he's even better if you pair him with a cool head
like Andre Pollard, which has come back.
I think him and Manie, they sort of fed each other some bad habits.
I think so too. And if you look at the combinations, so 60 caps for James O'Connor, 64 I think, and 70 odd for Nick White, and both in their 35, 36 years old. And then you look at Manie and Grant, 28, 29 years old, so not young by any means, but both of them in the mid-20s, late 20s. Yeah. So I think that lack of maturity showed, and we talked about it off air. If Kobus Reinach had started, or Faf had started, instead of Grant Williams with Manie, maybe there would have been that combination of maturity and sort of youthful exuberance, for want of a better term, as a combination to play
just
well.
Just someone in his ear to say, dude, calm down.
Yeah. So I like the Grant Williams, Andre Pollard. Andre Pollard coming back is always, just makes me feel more comfortable.
We can breathe again.
Yeah. Cheslin's back at 11, which I love. And then obviously we can say what we want about Cheslin. He's going to be outstanding. I think... is he replacing Aronson?
He's replacing Kirtley. I think he would have played on the right wing, but obviously Edwill and Kirtley's both injured, and that's why Kane and Moody's shifted to the wing.
So Cheslin comes in, Damien is back. So the Damien and Jesse Creel combination, and I think they play super well together. Take nothing away from Estes, and I think he had a good game, but
he had a very good game.
These two are just, it's like Walter Little and Frank Bunce. Just, they know each other.
Yeah.
Like they're bum chums, and they've lived in the same house for the last 20 years. Ken and Mooney comes in on the other wing, and then Willie Leroux at fullback.
Which I like.
Yes.
Again, old head, a calm head. Willie might do what Manie does and throw the odd 50-50 pass, but you know what?
The odd.
But when the pressure is up, he's got enough experience to scream at the boys, just calm down, slow it down, play to our strings. Like that's what we needed on the field at Ellis Park. Yeah. So I'm happy with Willie coming back. I have no issue with that. Yeah,
and also I think his tactical kicking at times can be great too.
And he'll be that playmaker that Andre often isn't. You know, if Andre's playing the percentages playing in the pocket, if you need someone to play that Manie type role, Willie can step in at first receiver.
Willie comes in at first receiver, plays that role really, really well. So I'm chuffed. Again, this is a world-beating team, right? So if I'd seen this team last week, I would have thought we were putting 50 on the Aussies. I'm not going to say we're going to put 50 on them based on the way that they came back last week, but I think that this is a statement team. I think this is the boys going, let's get back to our fabric, our DNA.
Yeah.
Let's show them who we are. We are world champions, and let's put a world champion performance out there. And this is the team to do it. So on the bench, you got Manus van der Merwe, Boan Venter, and Wilco Low. Right, then Eben Etzebeth and Luit Diago. So they retain their spots in the team but come off the bench. Let's see if that works. I know that Ruan Nakia and Achia are probably chomping at the bit, which is lacquer.
Yeah.
Quagga Smith, I think we've talked about this often. He's more impactful from about 50 minutes in. Him coming on for Marku and then coming on later again. He didn't seem to be as impactful
No, he didn't.
last weekend.
He didn't. So, but he can rectify that again.
And then
He's
you
got a
got,
point to prove.
and you got Kobus Reinach, who I think when he came on, he did well.
Yeah, it was good.
And he's been solid throughout. So again, whether it's Faf or Kobus with Manie or Andre, I think you've got that assurity in place from a 9 with the 10 combination. And then if he comes on and Grant Williams goes off and Andre Pollard goes off simultaneously, you expect Sasha Feinberg and Gomezulu to come on.
Yeah.
But he's obviously the utility that Damien would have played.
Sasha is a utility.
Yeah.
He hasn't played at 15 that often, but he can play at 15. He plays inside centre at the Stormers quite often. So I think he'll cover a couple of bases. But again, like you say, that's a statement team. I've got to ask you 2 questions, Matt.
Before you do, I think this just gets back to our DNA.
Yes.
This particular team looks to be, boys, all this kind of flash, quick running style of rugby that we try to play. It was good initially for the first 20 minutes and then it got away from us. It looks to be, the statement is, let's get back to who we are.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. I think we'll see a different game plan, which I'm all in favour of, even if it's a snore fest. But I expect actually quite a big score in the Springbok. I wanted to ask you, can the Aussies win again? Make it 2 from 2? That's
course.
the first question. Okay. Second question, will they?
Again, I'm gonna tie on this hill and on my sword somewhat, but I don't think they're winning again. And again, I think a lot of that is because Andre's back. I think I've said that cooler heads would have prevailed. Do I think that Andre Pollard at 10 as our general can secure us as many points as Manie did? Yes. Can we get 22 points in the game? Yes.
Maybe in a different fashion, but obviously we can score the points.
But that's the thing. Will he give away as many points as Manie did? No. Will he be able to run the team better? I think yes. So, do I see us losing this game? It's possible, especially because of what happened last weekend. And I don't want to discredit the Aussies. I don't want to be arrogant. But I still pick the Booker to beat the Aussies this weekend.
No, I mean, again, we can talk about the demise of the Springboks and Rassie losing his mind if this becomes a trend. This is one game. This is the second time in 7 years that a team has put 6 tries against us. Can everyone just calm down?
We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure. We've come too far. There's too much to lose. We've got to keep our composure.
Just stay calm. It's not the end of the Springboks. I do expect us to be back and better.
Beware the wounded buffalo.
In saying that, if Australia leaves our shores with 1 win and 1 loss, they'll be happy. They're like, we'll take that, because everyone would have predicted a 2-0 loss. But challenge now for the Bokke is to bounce back.
They took 5 points from Ellis Park. We took none.
Yeah, it's fine.
So it's a point system, obviously, because it's a long championship, and we've got to be there at the dinner table come the end. And so we've got to find a way to get back to our basics, get back to our DNA, and get back to just putting scoreboard pressure and chipping away and getting bonus points and points for the win.
That's easy, mate. We just go and smash the All Blacks at Eden Park on the 6th of September. That's all that happens. And then after that, off the back of that, Australia wins the Bledisloe Cup for the first time in 23 years.
Yo.
Easy game.
Easy.
Okay.
I love how some of the commentators out there, especially the Kiwi lads, and not Tony Johnson because he was fair, are saying, everyone knows that the South Africans are not invincible any longer, and you only have to beat them once.
We never said we were invincible.
No. You only have to beat them once in a World Cup, mate. The All Blacks beat us once in the first game of the last World Cup and then didn't walk home with the trophy. So keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's our show for today. We spoke about Ellis Park.
Lots of emotion.
Lots of emotion. We got it out. This is good therapy, Matt. I think we're better now. We're going to have a second brandy and then we're all done with it. It's going to be like Japan and Italy. We just never talk about it ever again. Or
Jeremy Guscott's dropkick. which you bring up almost on a daily. Yeah.
Or when Northern Transvaal lost to Natal in the Currie Cup final in 1990. I never think about that ever. But yeah, anyways, Matt, that was fun. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure, brother.
I hope the folks out there enjoyed the show. Give us your comments in the comment section below. Remember to tell us what your favorite moment from this fixture in Cape Town between the Aussies and the Springboks were from fixtures from yesteryear. But leave your comments in the comment section. Click the notification button. Go and follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the social medias.
All of that.
We'll do this again next week. Cheers.